Boys, let's go, baby. Oh my God, I'm losing my mind. That was, oh my God, prime stress ball. I brought me back to worse days, worse years, but we did it. We figured it out, and we're going to get into it today. Let's go. First and foremost, vamos, boys. That's a W. Moving past Atleti, not having to see Atleti play against my team for another 7 months is the best part of the day today. But that was a wild match, to say the very least. A lot less elite, I guess you could say, from Barcelona today. I think it could have been a little bit more comfortable. That would have been great, but Atleti really turned it on in the second half. They kept up that press that died out a little bit in the first half and made it difficult for Barca to keep nearly as much possession. They still had most of the ball in the second half. I'm going to pull the stats up right here. They had two big chances in the second half. We only had 5 shots in total. They had more possession actually than we had in the second half. That makes sense. They put on a lot of pressure. They made those subs, but to see Barca able to respond to that and not only win but like hold this team that is so good at coming back from coming back is really impressive to me. Really, really impressive to me, and it's huge for going into the Champions League. And I know we're going to play more football and everything, and the Supercopa final against Madrid, which I think will be at the end of April. It should be. It's a lot of football, but it shows that this team can fight and win, and we've been getting to know that as the season goes on. But I'm even more certain of it from here. But I'm so proud of so many of these guys. They worked so hard and they fought against a team that is like prime or final minutes figuring it out merchants, bro. They did it, and I'm so pumped, and I'm ready to get into this game before we get into the ratings, because the referee, I mean, I think it was a little wild with the yellow cards for Atleti in the first half. I think they were bad fouls. Like if you look at the replays of them, Aspi is probably not a red card in my opinion, but it's a high foot, studs up, yellow card easily. Same for DePaul as well, but then it felt like he wanted to kind of like flip the script in the second half, and then he was like not calling a lot, but then it felt like there was a lot of fouls not going uncalled. He seemed to lose a little bit of control from it. Realistically, though, I think he let these teams play each other and figure it out together, and I really don't think it held back Diego Simeone's wild football very much. But most importantly, Barcelona figured it out and they were able to respond to it. We'll get right into the ratings after that, though. That is all I wanted to say. And starting with Chesney, I thought he was great on the ball, but he didn't need to make a single save. Thankfully, Sorloth put the best chance that they had into the side netting, and then he did finish one. It ended up being offside, though, so who cares? 7 for Chesney because he was cool on the ball, and that's all I really needed to see from him today. And then moving to the back line, I'm going to give Koundé a 9, bro. I thought Koundé was so good. I just made a short on the main channel talking about how he's played. He hasn't missed a game of football. He's played every single game of football available to him since November of 2023. And he's still turning out performances like this, bro. I want whatever he's having. I need to do something about it. He's insane. He's been insane, pretty consistent all season. But today, he was a defensive beast, man. And he put a couple good balls in, too. He filled space pretty well a couple of times. Not very often. He's not Grimaldo. He's not Balde even. He's not the best attacking fullback. We don't need him to be when he defends like he did today. That was beautiful. Masterclass from Koundé at the back. And a solid performance from Kubarsi as well. I know where he's milking that injury. He's coming back from the injury, so he didn't play the full match. They brought in Araujo, which we'll get into. It's a whole thing, right? A lot to talk about on that too. But I think he had a pretty decent performance. He kind of gave a few balls away, but I'm not going to focus too much on that because I think they made it difficult for Barca really to find those passes, especially early in the first half and then in the second half with the way they were pressing and being intense and then dropping back so far. It was wild ball from Atleti, but I think they were up to the challenge. 7, probably 7.5 for Kubarsi. And Nigo, I think, was pretty consistent too. Played the full 92, so I'll give him a 7.5 and 8 as well. And I think led the line pretty well and was intercepting a lot too at the back, which I think was pretty cool. That was important to take out a lot of those passes there. He was reading the game really, really well. And Balde too, I think he was pretty good. Ended up getting in a yellow. I mean, Molina was diving like crazy, bro, on the other side, like actually like crazy. It was wild. But I think that yellow card was probably fair. And, I think he had a pretty good game, even though there were a few crosses and opportunities he had that I would have liked him to have back. I think he was good enough defensively and good enough going forward and in possession to help compensate and help cover for this team and help in such a difficult circumstance where he's like triple teamed a lot. It was really tough for them. They figured it out enough though to survive. I think a 7.5 probably is fair as well. Then we move to the middle where I'm going to start with Frankie because I think Frankie, again, was almost really good. There were a few missed passes, though, and then he was moved forward in the second half where I don't think he's the best. He's just not a number 10. I don't know why Hansi puts him up there instead of Pedri, probably because Pedri's so important in the build-up, but I would have preferred having Frankie deeper. However, it was okay. I think there was just one or two passes that if they clicked, he would have had like a 9 out of 10 performance, but they didn't and gave it away a couple times. But I think defensively was pretty solid as well, and just kind of coordinated the game well with Pedri in a way that I think helped us get to the point we are at right now. So I'll give him a 7.5 as well. I think if those passes connected, it would have been a different story. But Pedri, man, I think Pedri is just so important to this. This is his team. This is his team. This is his game. He was intercepting like every single pass through him, reading the game beautifully, just like Inigo Martinez, and then making incisive passes into these guys, linking up incredibly well, doing 1-2s with his teammates. It was beautiful, man. This kid cannot lose the ball, and then when he loses the ball, he presses it back and wins it back and does some great work. 8.5, probably 9. 8.5, probably 9 is where I'm at. Lamine Yamal, Fermin, and Rafinha are very different stories here. We'll start with Fermin, who I think it's a similar story to Frankie, where there were a couple passes that I wish connected a little bit better and maybe a few 1-2s that could have gone a little bit better. But when he lost the ball, he ran back and he fought for it and he pressed really well. I think once he was taken off, we saw how much worse the press got. I think it's also partially because Ferran Torres got tired, but when Fermin got taken off, the press from Barca got a lot worse, and it was a lot harder for them to hold it. And you could just see the difference between him and Frankie's pressing. It's night and day there. But that's not necessarily because Frankie's not good at it. It's more because Fermin is so good at it. But solid performance, 7, I think, is probably pretty fair, probably where I'm at. Lamine Yamal, though, bro, he had a tough day. He was getting slaughtered out there. He had a bloody ankle. They were going for him. They were taking him out. They were pulling him down. Reinildo was dragging on his arm, pulling him down the whole time. He figured it out, played a pass to Ferran Torres, who finished it beautifully. And, just Lamine, man, I wish he scored today, but put a few balls in there, and I think we struggled so much, and there was so much pressure on us for Lamine to help us get out of it and to work through that press in any way, because it was intense from Atleti. It was impressive, and I think he's the man of the match. I'm going to give him probably a 9 as well. He was really good today, I thought. And Rafinha was less good today. I think this was not his best game. It felt like he was kind of forcing it. He was a little bit too antsy, and I'm not surprised because he did have all that, flare up against Argentina where they were going after him and he made those comments and everything. And so I'm not surprised that today he would be a little on edge. I feel like I felt that, and some of his decision-making was less comfortable, was less concise as he usually is and as this team was or needed to be to break through Atleti. So not his best performance. Had a couple really good chances that I wish went a different way, but I think he helped the team out defensively really well and linked up good enough. I think a 6.5, 7 is probably where I'm at. Maybe a 6.5, I think actually is probably fairer. But Ferran Torres too, great finish. He died out a lot by like the 60th minute. He just wasn't able to hold off his man nearly the same or move around. Again, I think it suffered a little bit because Fermin was taken off, but he definitely died out a little bit. But great finish on the ball. I think he linked up pretty well at times, but that finish easily deserves an 8. That was dirty. Just getting your foot on that. You have to run in there. It was hard to get in there. The keeper was closing in on you, and to get that off, impressive, man. Impressive, really well done. And now we get into the subs, which for Hansi, I'm going to give him like a solid 8.5, 9. I really think he did well today with making these decisions and taking these guys out when he needed to. He brought on Eric Garcia and Araujo for Pau Cubarsí and Fermin Lopez, at which point they moved Frankie up. Eric Garcia went into the pivot. And I think Eric Garcia was pretty good. It wasn't a perfect performance from him. There was one pass specifically where Eric Garcia won the ball, and then we could have countered. Lamine was kind of in behind, but Eric he was on the ground, and then he tried to stand up and like fluff the pass a little bit, didn't put enough weight on it. Unfortunate, but that's not the biggest problem, right? That's not, he was on the ground. It's a tough pass to make, but I'm saying like a solid 7.5, 8, I think is pretty fair. He put in a pretty good defensive shift as well, and it got intense there at the end, and I think he as well as Araujo really turned it on. And Araujo, I can really split the audience here. I know a lot of people are really against him today, though. He was, further forward enough to keep Sorloth offside on the goal he scored, and did his job for the remainder of it. Won a lot of headers, blocked a lot of crosses. Koundé did that as well. Koundé was on fire with blocking the crosses, but so was Araujo. I think he was really good today as well. I think an 8.5 is very fair. Him and Eric Garcia probably as well. Lewandowski as well. He came on for Ferran Torres in the 74th. I think Lewandowski was good. He was stronger. He's clearly not as fast, but he is strong. He was able to hold off Jimenez and Lenglet a little bit better than Ferran Torres was, which is exactly what I think we needed. And that helped us link up a little bit better up there. And like the second Lewandowski came on, we saw a little bit more pressure by our side. It wasn't a ton more. We weren't that creative in the second half, but it was a lot better. Then Gerard Martin came on for Lamine Yamal in the 87th, and I think Martin was okay. He got a yellow card, but I think he was solid defensively. Put a couple tackles in there that made me go wild, but I was just so anxious, boys. But good job from Hansi making the right subs at the right times pretty much, and my boys turned it up. This was a hard game. It always is against Atleti, and they figured it out. We have the biggest piece of the season coming up this next few weeks. And now we don't have to worry about it as much. Not at all. Yeah, boys, I'm excited. I'm excited to play Real Madrid in the final. That's awesome. Another Clásico this season. We might even get another. Who knows what happens in the Champions League, but it's possible. And the idea of that blows my mind, that we'd have like 3 Clásicos in 15 days. It's entirely possible, and that would go wild. But I want to say, guys, vamos, let's go, baby. If you are watching this too, make sure you follow my Instagram. It's right here. It's at @BoblyLou. I'm going to go to Barcelona. I'm going to Barcelona in the next few days, so you guys are going to see a lot of content from me. But I want you guys to, interact with me, and I want to be able to be hanging out with you, even though I'm not necessarily going to be streaming as much or doing all that stuff. So, make sure you guys follow me there and subscribe to all my channels so you don't miss any content. It's going to be pretty cool, and I'm excited, dude. And I think you guys should be too, whether you're going to be in Europe or in Africa, wherever you are right now, bro. Barcelona's exciting right now. And, that's all I got. Thank you for watching, boys, and I'll see you in the next one.